Morning, everyone. Today we will be sharing with you a bit about sacred sexuality. And what I love about Tantra is that it's a pathway that embraces all of the human experience. And I'm very grateful for my 10 years prior to Tantra, where I was living in an ashram on and off for 10 years. And there were beautiful practices of bhakti, devotion, awareness, heart, compassion, but I always felt like there was something missing in that part of the journey. And it was once Tantra came into my life and I started working with the school that for the first time in my life I was taught that sexuality, which is life force energy, which is the reason that every one of us are here in human flesh, is a beautiful practice that can connect us to ourselves, to our beloved, to God, and that pleasure is part of that journey.
Yeah, I feel that space that Tara went from, where meditation and bhakti was really the priority in her time in India, is a lot of is recurring in a lot of clients that I see, and it certainly was in my life. I had a strong personal development, affirmation, meditation background, and even though sex was always something I really loved and enjoyed, I didn't realize that it was a meditation in itself, or that sexuality is an intimate act that is very sacred and can actually be a spiritual practice in itself. It's also, sexual energy is something which brings us into intimacy, and this world is craving for intimacy. It's like, you go to any classroom, whether it's a yoga class, a meditation class, a school class, something that you're learning about, and everyone is just sitting there, in their minds and not in their bodies. And what Tantra does is it gets us into our bodies and says it's okay to be here. It says it's okay to look into the eyes of someone and really meet their soul. It's okay to, rather than spending so much time talking, maybe just put a hand on each other's hearts. And this is something really simple you can try with someone that you're living with, whether you're in relationship with them or not, or someone that you're around, and it's just to place your right hand over their heart. And then you can even place your other hand on top of their hand and just really meet each other in a space of intimacy, in a meditative state that doesn't exclude kinetics, that doesn't exclude communion. And already I can feel oxytocin releasing. I can feel closer to Tara. I can feel more in my body. So today, when you're with someone, or if you're fully in isolation on your own, then you can just bring that touch to yourself. But if you do have contact with someone, try that. Try just bringing your right hand to their heart. It's really easy. And then your other hand on top of their hand. And look into their eyes. And soul gazing, transfiguration has become a popular practice. And it's really, really beautiful just to look into someone's eyes and feel that as an intimate act and a reflection of your own divinity. There's so much guilt and shame in so many people's lives around sexuality, around intimacy, and it's kept behind closed doors. And it's really such a shame. And something worth doing is to ask yourself, what are the beliefs you have around intimacy and sexuality? Did you grow up in a family or in a religion that really shamed your sexuality? Or did you grow up in a family that just didn't acknowledge it at all? Or did you grow up with a lot of pornography that took sexuality just as this pleasure-based experience that's very outcome-oriented? There's so much focus on the outcome already in our world. What Tantra does is it slows everything down, and it takes you into a sacred arena of sexuality where the heart is really important, where, you know, we're feeling the other person deeply and we're slowing everything down so that we're really feeling a beloved's touch, we're unraveling them, we're not ashamed to be sitting in a cafe and touching. You know, it's so funny. It's okay to have deep philosophical conversations. It's okay to, you know, have D&Ms with someone, deep and meaningfuls, but then it's not okay to be affectionate or sensual. I just think that's crazy. It's just this, our animals are so cut off, and that's why there's so much shadow in sexuality. That's why there's rape and, you know, cutting off of women's parts, and there's so many things even in the spiritual world with spiritual teachers where sexuality goes into shadow. Why is that? Because it's not brought out in the open. And Tantra says, let's take sexuality out from behind closed doors. Let's celebrate it as something beautiful, and let's see it as a healing, beautiful, pleasurable experience that can really take us out of the mind and into the body, which is what spiritual practice does, right? And Eros takes us there a lot quicker. And that's not to say that other practices aren't important, but see if you can include in your spiritual practice today some sensuality and sexuality. Or if you don't have a practice, just see if you can bring more of that into your relationship with your beloved, into your own life, and be less focused on the outcome and be less focused on this energy that's like separate to everything else that you keep behind closed doors. And I want to say that, you know, pleasure is beautiful, orgasm is beautiful, but it's even more beautiful when you slow it down and you learn how to edge and you learn how to let go and fully relax and surrender. So if you want to know more about sacred sexuality, our online courses are 50% off for the next few days. And sacred sexuality is an 8-week journey into the deep terrain of, you know, beautiful sensual touch. You'll receive guidance and demos and a really detailed manual. And, you know, I'm really passionate about this because it absolutely changes people's lives. And it really takes sexuality out of the shadows and into the light, where it can be celebrated as a spiritual practice, which not only makes us love our bodies more, makes us love ourselves more, but also takes us into such deeper spaces of communion with the people that we love. So I hope that that's inspired a different outlook on sexuality and inspired you to take my challenge and connect with someone today with a bit more sensuality and depth.
Yeah, and for those of you who are single or at home alone, then you can do this with yourself as well. And so the eye gazing practice is beautiful to do with a mirror in front of you, and soul gaze with yourself and bring yourself touch and give yourself beautiful words of affirmation. And you can, it's so powerful connecting with your own sexuality, and actually helps you and has been my journey to help me connect more deeply and be more embodied when I'm connecting sexually with my beloved.
And even if you're single but you're not on your own and you're with a friend, practice this with a friend. Like in our sister circles, it's so beautiful to see women connecting with women, and, you know, Aaron in his brother circles, men connecting with men, because there's a different level of safety and comradeship when women come together and when men come together. And that might feel kind of weird and awkward at first, but it's so beautiful and heart opening. So give it a try, and sending you lots of juicy love from Bali.